No, I'm just joking. Hey everyone, it's Tom.
This is Jason here.
I'm Cory.
And we're recording in a place that's not so echoey. So if you listen to previous episodes,
right? Sorry about that.
Might be a little bit more quiet. Don't apologize to these
The
people.
quality will be better.
We deserve our apology. I'm joking, obviously, but no, the echo is
Forward
fine.
any of your complaints to Tom Kelshaw at. No, I'm kidding.
We're not sorry. We apologize for the echo, but we had to record in a spot that wasn't so what's the word I'm looking
Jason's
for?
corner.
Audio friendly.
Audio
Jason's-
friendly.
We
Yes.
had Jason's
We had to record
Which is
Jason's
weird because
corner.
the old set of them, I remember we used to record there all the time. And I don't remember them being that echoey, but I don't know. Maybe something in settings was different or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe we just didn't give a shit then.
Maybe the world wasn't rotating as flat as it is now.
It's a flat rotation.
Yeah, flat spins.
The turtle was boosting us up faster that day.
We were moving too fast. So
For the turtle. There we go.
So, real quick, we were all joking around before I get started my episode. We were all joking around about the flat Earth because we all believe in it.
No, we don't. Don't let these people lie.
Do you remember when you were a kid? You remember those machines, the red machines would be like candy in one, and another one in another, and you put your quarter in and you'd spin it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember the little toys that would come out? They'd come out in a bubble with and you'd have to take the little cap off the bottom?
Yeah.
Right.
That's the Earth.
The little cap.
Yeah, the Earth is the little plastic piece on the bottom, and then we have our dome, and then you just pop the dome open and the toys inside.
So we're the toys.
We're the toys inside the dome.
Speaking too loud, the turtle will hear you right now. It'll start shaking. Create an earthquake.
He's all right. I mean, the turtle doesn't care what we do. It's the flat earthers that care what we do.
The turtle has a lot of work to do right
Oh,
now.
dude, he's eating fruit by the foots, and he's happy. He's fine. He's probably farting rainbows or something.
Fruit by the foot.
That new meme.
I haven't seen fruit by the foot in
Forever.
forever.
Shit, we were eating it at work the other day.
The
This
new
guy,
meme was, let's get over to flat Earth. That's about the
Right.
Earth is shaped like a hot dog.
there's this dude Ted that I work with, and I'm sure Ted might listen to this, but man, this guy is the snack king. It's awesome. He brings he loves goldfish, which is cool. You like him because he's bald like you are. Sorry, Ted. No, I'm just teasing up. But he knows he's a good guy. He's a good cook too. But now he was he brought a box of fruit by the foot. We're all like, man, we haven't eaten these in forever. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, unrolling the paper, doing all the fun stuff. So yeah, definitely had some fruit by the foot. A little throwback to the
I saw a thing
old days
where somebody took it wasn't fruit by the foot. It was whatever the fruit roll-ups, and they laid it out flat, put a scoop of ice cream in it, and then curled it around it, let it sit there for a second, and it got crunchy. The fruit roll-up got crunchy because it got cold. And I was like, I never would have thought about that, but it makes total sense.
I think Cold Stone did something like that. They would do the fruit roll up thing. I'm sure they did. They've done every other damn thing you could possibly think
Wouldn't
of.
surprise me.
I thought they still have it, but I remember the old '90s, the candy cigarettes.
Oh, we were
yeah.
talking about
That was
those,
smoking out,
or the
free.
freaking the dips. We were talking about those.
Oh,
We
yeah,
were talking
yeah,
about the
yeah,
ones
yeah.
where you lick the white
The
stick.
little
and you stick
little
it in the
soda bottle
sugar.
things. The little wax
They had
soda
the
bottle
little
things.
soda bottles. This was a bag. It had 3 pouches, and you had a white stick that came with it, and you would
Yeah, Dippin' Dots.
No, it wasn't Dippin' Dots came off of a piece of paper. This was a pouch. It looked like
Oh, they still sell those. They're
Yes.
they're literally called. I think they're called dips.
That's it,
DIPZ.
dips. Yeah, not Dippin' Dots, but yeah, because I said
Yeah, the
somebody else
Dippin'
said
Dots. Yeah, the dots
They're
on the
ice-
sheet. I missed
Those aren't
I
Dippin'
love
Dots.
those
Dippin'
things.
Dots are ice cream. Those I don't remember what they were called. But no, the dips. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just stick a little stick in it. And the guy at work was like, I just like eating the stick, to be honest with you. I was like, man, I had to dip some of that cool stuff in it. But then all it was like eating sugar. It was like eating Kool-Aid that already had sugar
It's like
in
Fun
it.
Dip.
Yeah.
The Fun Dip things that came with the sugar stick,
the
and
worst
you
thing.
dipped it in basically Kool-Aid.
Or that thing, man, what was that, Big League Chew? I know you play baseball, so you know what I'm talking about.
2 seconds
Get
of
a
flavor.
pouch of that. Get a pouch of that. Stick it in here, and it's like... Like, I'm a bad spit out. But yeah, it was like 5 seconds.
Yeah, it was literally 5 seconds.
The
Like
only
the
thing that
cigarettes
had more flavor than that is fruit stripe gum. I think that would make it to 6 seconds.
Yeah, that
The
was
one thing that didn't have any flavor was the gum that came in the back of a baseball card.
Oh,
bag.
yeah.
Oh, it did. Oh,
Oh my god! I was
My-
like,
my
yo,
favorite-
why did you put chalk in my baseball cards? Like, what is this
You
shit?
know what was
Terrible.
my favorite
That's
gum
terrible.
as a kid? Was Bazooka Joe.
Oh man, the cartoons that came with
Yes.
Bazooka.
I
The
love
flavor on the
them.
Bazooka was
Oh,
good
yeah, I
too.
remember
Yeah, and they had different flavors.
could
Like they
never
had the
figure
cherry
out-
ones and the grape ones, and
But I
then they
never
had the
figured out
regular
why
ones.
why it wasn't why it had ridges in it. Like I'd
I
love
don't
to
know.
know like why it had the ridges.
Well, I'm sure you can do
like
the
that.
I'm sure you can do the
Probably
research
easier to
find
chew
out.
or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure you.
Or a manufacturing thing. It was probably something that's just the way it extruded or something.
This is not the way I wanted to start the episode.
Hey,
It's
well, you know what?
perfect.
We can just make this the episode. And we can do your episode next.
There we go.
Do that. I mean, we're on.
My whole thing
like
is just like things that like we talk. Yeah, I mean,
like we all love snacks.
We're all a little older too. We're all in our
know,
mid-30s. I'm the old guy, obviously, but
we're the old guys. Jason's the baby.
How old are you again, Jason?
38. I think
He'll be 39 when
That's
when
not
this
that young,
when
dude.
you guys
Like,
hear this show.
He's like, I'm young, like I'm 21. Over
Yeah,
there.
he's the young one. Like, he's 20. He's not 30 now.
Well,
Dude.
the
He's
first
teenager
year
now.
last week, guys.
You're getting ready to be 44,
Yep,
right?
Yep.
I just hit
man.
41.
We're 2 years apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's acting like, oh man, my
You're
year.
young, man.
No, it's funny. They call
kids.
the one guy old guy at work, but I'm older than he is. I'm like, I'm the old one. Like, what are you talking about?
There's this old
They
guy.
make some jokes. They talk about our AAP car. We joke back. We're like, oh yeah, we rode dinosaurs to school, and you know. I'm not gonna. I mean, I try not to be that guy that's like my generation, but now I know why old people bitch about when things were their age. Because I don't get half this shit the kids are doing now.
When
I don't try to act like I do.
I know, right? There's some of it I get, and some of it's just like, were we this annoying when we were kids?
Probably.
We were.
I'm sure we were. But
I think we were, but I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't
didn't
know.
eat Tide Pods though. So.
I don't think that I bitched that much though either. And I rode my bike. I went out. Like when I hear like every time I turn on the news, White Marsh Mall is encouraging the Kirk. I was like, yo. When I went to the mall,
when we were a kid,
the most that we got in trouble for was like hopping. Like when you go to Marley Station, if you hopped a little wall instead of walking around, the fucking mall security would get mad at you for that. But yo, we never got in trouble. Like we never had a curfew infused on us where we had to have parents with us. Like that's crazy.
I should have. We used to go to the mall
I should have
when they still had the arcade, and we would get the Super Balls.
Yeah.
At Marley Station, that's 2 levels. And we would go and we would chuck them from the top level down so that they bounced down the hallway and shit
That's
like
awesome.
that. Oh, it was so much fun,
dude.
And that was like our Saturday night in high school was like going to Marley Station, not high school, middle school. Going to Marley Station, playing the arcade games, getting just enough to get a handful of Super Balls, and throwing them down the hallway.
And the thing is, I'm not that much older than you. I'm only 2 years older.
No, you're
so.
4 years. You're 3 years older
3
than I
years
am.
older. So I mean, that every Friday, Saturday, I was walking the mall, dude. Like, and we didn't there was no imposed curfew. We got in fights, but we didn't fight in the mall.
No,
we didn't shit when we ate. We went out on the bike trail.
Mm-hmm.
We walked right out to that bike trail, boy.
I lived in a bowling alley.
That's fine. We went to the bowling alley too. That bowling alley down where that bowling alley down the street from Marley Station. We would leave the mall and either go to the bowling alley or we'd sit in the Dunkin'. Like we were allowed to sit in parking lots, like the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot.
Yeah, I know you're talking
We
about.
actually, the fucked up part is they used to get mad at us. One night they got mad at us, thought we robbed them. We were like, no, we left. We went up the wishing rock. They would get robbed when we would leave. They got robbed twice, the one on Ritchie Highway, after we left. But then they were like, one night they had pulled a knife on us. We were like, what are you talking about? Why would we rob you? We're here like, every night. Like, during the summer, we were there. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Somebody was there one night a week, like every night. Like the one right on Ritchie Highway there. Cops would come by. Obviously, they want to. I'm just joking. But no, they would leave us alone. Nowadays, it's like I'll drive down Ritchie Highway on a Friday, and it's like no car clubs out.
No, I remember
Like,
that. You used to have the one McDonald's down on Ritchie Highway that always had the Hot Rod Club,
or where the
Marley Station.
Marley Station does. You'll see
Marley Station
Well,
still
no,
does.
you would see them at the Pep Boys parking
Pep
lot.
Boys.
People would hang out in the Pep Boys
They used to
parking
have them
lot.
on Dorsey Road too, and they're just not
yeah.
anywhere to be found anymore as much as they used to be. Now you have to wait till like a Saturday morning and go see them at like the flea market or whatever.
Well, the older kids, but then there was a younger kids car club. Like you don't see people sit like you would see like literally people would be driving down Ritchie Highway and you see 20 of us just sitting around our cars. But we would always spend money in the Dunkin' Donuts. It's not like we were. Just
Well, I
hanging
also
out loitering
remember-
there. But then we would sit in that parking lot behind.
But you
it
also
used to be
had-
a Denny's because our friend Phil lived behind the Patriot Plaza, so we would hang out in that parking lot.
Okay.
Cops would come by every once in a while. But they would not kick us out unless we were doing, like, they would be like, y'all got booze?
Right.
Like, if we had booze, somebody's getting in trouble.
Yeah.
But, like, they wouldn't kick us out.
But see, I remember, two things on that. One, I remember being on Ritchie Highway, and the thing to do on Saturday night was racing up and down Ritchie Highway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big.
But even that, like, you were as responsible as you can be racing up and down Ritchie Highway. You weren't being, like...
You're still racing.
You're still racing, but it's not like... We're not trying to do wheelies down Ritchie Highway on a dirt bike, like nowadays. Or, but I remember getting...
And the filming was a guy with a camcorder. Like
Right.
a
Oh my
hand
God,
cam.
yes.
Like, there wasn't phones back then that...
But
well, I mean, in the early 2001, 2002, we started to have
was.
cameras on our phone.
But they
the
weren't know
resolution
that.
was
They weren't.
ass.
Yes,
You weren't recording videos and putting them on the internet.
I still have a couple
videos
videos from the early,
or something.
from like even 10 years ago, and they're
even
pixely as
snapping,
fuck.
even snapping fucking pictures for your girlfriend or your girlfriend sent to her fucking shitty, dude.
Oh yeah. But I remember.
Just saying, it happened.
I remember getting
Little
caught,
fuckers think you invented
getting caught by the
pics.
cops a couple times. Getting caught by the cops a couple times drinking, and all they did is just pour out your liquor. They just poured out your beer. They didn't take you to jail. They didn't give you a ticket.
Fights,
because they were like, we did the same thing. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
but that's the thing. Like, if we got in
We
fights, the
weren't-
cops
but
would
we-
know that. If we got in fights, the cops would know we were probably just fighting each other. Every once in a while, somebody would pull a knife or pick up a stick.
Yeah, but not
Right.
now.
Man, I've had a gun pulled on me twice in my life when I was a kid. I've had guns pulled on me more as an adult by children at shows than I did as a kid.
I believe it.
We got in a fight. If I got and I got my ass whooped in high school a lot. They didn't pick me up, but if I got in a fight at the mall with somebody, one of my best friends growing up for the longest time, we got in a fight. Like the first time we ever met, his cousin. He only went to my school for a short amount of time, but his cousin and I didn't like each other. We got in a fight, and then he and I got in a fight. But after we got in a fight, we became best friends.
That happened.
But
a lot to me
then
in
we
school,
got
too.
jumped by the rich drug dealer kids. I actually saved his ass. They tried to kill this motherfucker. He was defending himself.
Jesus.
He was defending himself, but he got overwhelmed. Like he was holding his own. And then I just happened to jump in and save him. I took ass whipping too, but I mean they were whipping his ass. But like I said, it wasn't because he wasn't trying. I mean But after a while, 4 or 5 guys that are pretty big are going to overwhelm you.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
But then we became best friends.
4 or 5 guys that are the same size as you can overwhelm you
we
pretty
ended up
easily.
becoming friends.
I mean,
but I saw a gun get pulled a couple times, but nothing crazy like these days, dude. Like,
That's a standard now.
yeah.
The gun.
I've had it happen to me twice, and actually it ended up after the fact turning out that one of them was a BB gun, and I didn't know. Because it was like from a distance, but
doesn't matter. Still having a gun pulled on you regardless of not knowing it. But I'm just saying, it's but now it's like people see these videos online, they have to one-up each other.
Yeah.
I think that's what I don't know. But my point is it's so weird. Like I try to figure out what do people do now.
Well, I think it's
Are they
also
just home like on their video games and on their tablets and phones, just sitting at the house.
Probably. They don't get out like that.
Yeah, it's just weird to me. Like I
think that also the difference
again,
is that
it's just because I'm old. I mean, it's different.
Well,
I'm sure when my parents were like, "Why are you hanging out?" Like my grandma, "Why are you hanging out at the mall?" Because they didn't do that when they were kids.
I think there's less, but I think there was less of a difference between us and our parents and our generation and our kids because our parents still wanted. Well, that's part of it. But I think mainly is because when we were kids, we still wanted to go outside. When our parents were kids, they wanted to go outside. Our kids now don't want to go outside. They'd rather stay inside and watch TV or play on the internet or play a video game or whatever. You know, we were the first generation that had video games, but like we still valued going outside. The generations that have come out after us grew up with the internet, where we grew up as the internet came. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like we knew the value of going outside, of going to the mall, of actually socializing with people face to face, which I'll be the first one to admit, I hate talking to people now on the phone. When I was a kid, teenager, I stayed on the phone.
I hate texting.
Well, part of it's because I'm hard of hearing.
Yeah,
and so it's hard for me to.
Very hard here.
I am.
You're hard to type in, but
You said B for Baltimore.
I wish we recorded that.
I'm hard of hearing at times too. But I think it's more selective hearing than actually.
Well, see, no, I really am hard of hearing, and there's times where people can straight look at me, and I'm like, I did not hear what you said. You have to. I also know when you're mouthing to yourself, motherfucker.
Jason heard what I said.
I did.
Yeah.
But I think that's the big difference, is that, like, the people who have come out after us, I'm not talking like a year or two younger than us or something like that. Like, I'm talking, like, someone who is now in their 20s.
I think young kids, the thing is, though, is like, I live right here. So I hear the young kids in the park. The parents are still bringing their young kids, like, you're like your daughter's age.
But
Yeah.
but
They
see,
still go outside, but where is the disconnect?
I think that's the thing is that now it's come back around, and that's where like we were talking
I think
in one of the previous
COVID had a
episodes.
lot to do with that with people
Well,
not going outside. I think COVID had a lot to do with
That but
Parents
that's the
telling
thing.
the kids to get the fuck out of the house.
And I think we were talking about this in a one of the last episodes we did, where now you go to the store and like our generation are the ones who are putting out toys and stuff like that. So it looks like when we were a kid in the store. So our generation is like, no, when I was a kid, you go outside. So go outside. We're making our kids go outside versus like the generation or the kids right before 5-10 years ago. I guess their parents didn't make them. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not a parent, so I can't really
Right.
speak in that.
But that's
like,
the only
in
thing I
that
can think
gap,
of.
so
I
would
see
have to
more
ask.
kids now going outside and playing and stuff like that,
But
even in
I
my
looked-
neighborhood, and I didn't for 15 years.
I looked at how great my sister has 3 kids.
Yeah.
Great mom.
Mm-hmm.
She did a lot of it on her own. She divorced early, and she did a lot of it on her own. And the kids are on their phones a lot, but they also play a lot of sports. But where they lived too, so I mean, I think it's the parent because the kids were on their phones a lot. But I also do know that they all played sports. My niece was really into equestrian stuff, so she did horse riding. So that you got to go outside and horse
Oh, yeah.
ride.
Yeah.
But I think because my sister was fiercely independent. Like growing up, I didn't live with her. She lived with my mom. But my sister had jobs early. Like everything she got, she bought herself. Like she wanted New Kids on the Block stuff. She had a job. She was buying all her own shit. I didn't live in that environment. I went outside a lot because the neighborhood I lived in, being inside, I didn't want to get yelled at by my grandma. Part of it, but also I lived in a really cool community that was surrounded by water. I was fortunate enough at very young to live, with what happened with my family. My grandparents adopted me, so I was lucky enough to live for a very long time in Pasadena, not far from where you live.
Yeah,
but it was
Lake
surrounded
Shore
by
area.
water, so I had a basketball court. And we were the poor family in a rich community. And my grandmother wasn't poor. My grandmother was fickle. There's a difference.
There's a big
She
difference.
did not spend money on anything. She was like, save. These other parents were out buying cars, kids went to private school. I didn't go to private school. I was a public school kid. All my friends went to private school. Every single one of them that lived in my community, except for 2, as I got older, they went to high school with me. And then I would go and stay with my parents, who both lived in the city. So like I learned to appreciate early, like going outside in the city was a little different because I wasn't in a rich white community. I was with people of different, more diverse backgrounds.
Right.
So I think that's part of the reason why I didn't accept some of the racist shit I heard, because it was like, no, I hang out with people of all different stuff all the time because living in the city, you're going to. Shit, I remember the first time I saw one of the guys who became one of my best friends. I was in Brooklyn, Curtis Bay, walking down, Pennington Avenue, and I saw a kid with purple hair, and I'm like, oh shit! I was like, hey man, I love your hair, and his name was Danny, and we ended up becoming like really good friends. But like, it's just always came up the first. But yeah, I loved to go outside. I mean, there's woods all around. I would ride down North
that's
Shore
what I
Road on my
did
bike.
all
We
the
would
time.
camp in the woods. We'd go fish, but all my friends had boats, so I'd go fishing with my friend. Like I lived richly through my friends. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Like I would go, they would take me on vacation with them. But
That's pretty cool.
it was fucking awesome. Like I got lucky, but I'm just saying, like I lived in an environment where going outside was, I played sports. I went outside a lot, man. I fucking loved it. Like it was fun. Like,
I was a woods kid. I was a kid that we played in the woods.
you played doctor in the woods, probably. No, we
grew up
did.
in Ocean
I
City.
never did that, but I did do that on the beach and got caught by the police. That's a different story. Anyway,
Yeah, well, we can talk about that stuff at a different time.
Oh yeah.
if we ever do an after show.
After dark.
Anyway, but no, but I totally get that. Like my parents weren't. We weren't poor, but we were lower middle class. Like I never wanted for anything, but like
You had a roof over your head,
I had
right?
a roof over my head. I had food in my belly. Like
That's
everything
what
was
matters,
great.
man.
Like everything. Like when I was a kid, I didn't realize. You know, what I mean? Like they didn't let me realize that we were lower middle class. Now, as someone who has a job and has responsibilities and stuff like that, looking back, it's like, oh, we were lower middle class. You know, what I mean? Not in a bad way.
Same.
Not in a bad
Really,
way.
Lower middle
dude.
class. To me, it's the
bologna
same.
bologna sandwiches, motherfucking.
Anybody in the middle class, you're all struggling.
Shit, I
Oh, yeah,
remember being really young and my
absolutely.
sister trying to make a grilled cheese
But it's
sandwich
also a
with
character
fucking
builder,
irons
too.
and
Like-
shit,
I'm glad I grew up that way, versus like rich, because like then you're not snooty and snotty.
I'm glad I
and
saw both
stuff like
sides of the coin. Because I'll tell you, Jason, how'd you come up? I mean, we're over here. How'd you
Oh,
come
no,
up?
you're
Man?
good.
Were you grow up in Glen Burnie, right?
Yes.
Were you raised in Glen Burnie? Okay.
Yeah, I was raised in Glen Burnie.
You grow up outside? What did you do? Like,
Yeah, I
when you were
grew
a
up
kid, what
outside.
did
I
you do?
played tag and did all that.
Okay.
Yeah, we did tag. We used to run around and I used to do dumb stuff like step on beehives and get stung like an idiot. Like kill all the bees. Yeah, I did stuff
My girl.
like that.
You got Macaulay
Pretty much,
Culkin?
yeah. You get stung and you wonder why, what happened, and you go and run inside crying, your arm all effed.
Oh, like I ran over that fucking, like I
Yeah.
would run over I'd run over Yellow Jacket highs with a fucking lawnmower.
I remember you
I
chasing the ice cream truck. That was awesome.
Fuck, yes.
Good humor.
Yes.
That was
There's
the
still an
best.
ice cream truck that to
That was
this
There's
Still
day
one that rides around
goes
this
around my
motherfucker.
neighborhood.
Goes around
Yes.
here too,
Yes.
bro. I'm
You
like, yo, you
stop
got
The
weed.
the green one.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what color
Oh,
it is.
there's
but
a green one, and
it used to be, hey, ice cream man, can I get ice cream? And I was like, hey, yo, you got weed?
No, I pretty much, you don't care what you're in the middle of, you stop for that ice cream truck.
Oh yeah.
Any game you're doing, you're like,
Well, it depends on which kind. See, I never liked the ones with the pre-made ice cream. I wanted the ice cream truck that you got the swirl cone from and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I
You
didn't
had an
like
ice
those.
cream truck? I always
Yeah.
just bought the rocket pop or some
No,
shit.
see, I didn't like those as much. I mean, I'd buy them, but I liked like the regular
What
one.
what the fuck are you? Which ice
ice cream is ice
Yo,
cream.
for real. Anybody listening to this episode, if you got
Hey.
put comments. If you had an ice cream truck that made that gave you an ice cream cone,
Yeah, you
please
didn't have
post
that.
this because I know I'm dead ass
like a
serious.
gold
Seriously.
spoon.
It's not like
No,
I'm
no.
saying that you're lying. I'm just saying like literally like the one that used to come around because when I lived on Quarterfield, the one that used to come around Quarterfield, nah man, that was rocket
Oh, well,
pops.
see, when I was getting it was in Millersville. I will say that.
Well,
So
but
it was
still,
a little.
but that's
little
I mean,
upper,
it ain't,
but-
like, I don't even think Suburban Park was.
SpongeBob.
No, these
whatever,
were-
just
they had, like, a
Yeah,
regular
we had the
ice
Ninja
cream
Turtle. We had
machine.
the Ninja Turtle one with the
Yeah.
bubblegum eyeballs.
I remember those, but I'm saying there was there was those, and then there was the one that came around. It was like a good humor truck or
I
whatever.
believe you,
And
but we didn't have that one. That's all
Oh,
I'm saying.
no,
we
I
didn't have
never
that.
had
shit.
that.
We had a guy would just pull
Yeah.
up and be like, "What you want?" And they had a little sign on the
Because
side.
see, my mom
and you
loved
pick
those
the
too.
number you want.
And
like
so
rocket
she
poppers
would,
and
whenever
shit.
we'd hear the thing, she'd be like, "Which one is it?" And I'd be like,
Which-
"Oh, it's the swirly one." She'd be like, "Go get me one," and she'd give me money, and we'd go out and get ice cream.
Do not remember that.
Yeah.
I do not. No, we never had that.
Nah, man.
That was the best thing when you're outside, man. You hear that sound, it was like, everybody's head was like,
See, now in Pasadena, we didn't really have the ice cream truck, obviously, because if you know Pasadena, well, our road was 2.5 miles back in the fucking woods. So.
yeah.
But I was up here. When I lived on Quarterfield here. With my mom, I lived with my parents until I was about 4. Or I lived with one of my parents up until I was about 4 in Quarterfield, like right off Quarterfield Road. The apartments, like you go to the corner of Old Stage,
Okay.
right behind the 7-Eleven. Them apartments. That's where I grew up. I'd walk from the apartment up to Joy's sandwich shop, which was the florist for the longest time. It's not there now. That where the 7-Eleven was, that was a pop shop, and there was there was a snow cone stand
Nice.
right attached to the side of it. And I remember, like, I'll never forget this story. I must have been about 3 years old, and my parents can't believe it. I remember this story. My goddamn fucking babysitter left me with her friends. No, her and her friends left me. They left me. I was about 3 years old in a bathtub full of water. No bullshit. I'm not even lying to you. I got out, got myself dressed, went into my parents' room, went into my dad's quarter drawer, change drawer, pulled out a bunch of quarters, dressed myself. I don't know. It was dark out, but it was probably like 6 or 7 o'clock. Walked down to the pop shop and bought myself a snow cone, and they found me there.
At 3.
I was like 3 or 4 years. I'm dead ass because I moved. My grandparents adopted me at 4 or 5 years old. So yeah, I was living there. Yes, I'm dead ass serious. I said I told my mom and dad this story, and they couldn't believe it because I remember this in detail, dude. I remember sitting in this bathtub on Connerfield Manor, 3rd floor apartment. I know exactly the apartment. Well, that's the thing I learned when you go through traumatic things. You don't realize how traumatic it is until you remember it. But like people remember weird things. Mm-hmm. But I can't remember some things from yesterday. But there's certain things about my childhood that I fully remember. I remember almost drowning in the pool that was behind there. Because if you go from Quarterfield Manor, if you walk through, there's another set of apartments right behind there, and that's where my grandma lived. There was a pool there. I almost drowned in the pool.
I almost drowned in the ocean.
Well, you lived in Ocean City for a while, right?
The riptide got me, and it was odd because
Well, before you go into that, how long? Just so we know, how long ago? How long did you live down there? How long?
I lived
was
there
it?
till I was 9.
Okay.
So I mean, I was.
Were you born in Ocean City?
No, I was born in Amarillo. I was born in Texas.
Okay.
My mom left my biological father on Christmas Eve when I was 9
You don't
months
have to.
old.
You don't want to talk
No,
about
it's-
that. You don't
it doesn't
have
bother
to.
me at all.
I just didn't. I didn't know that.
She
You learned something new. We've been friends for a long time, and
Yeah, I was
never
born
knew
in
you were
Amarillo,
born in
Texas. My mom was in an abusive relationship with my dad, and she left him on Christmas Eve.
Steers and Cory's come from Texas. Can I get another drink down there? Yeah, we're just so you guys know we are drinking.
Oh,
so if you
absolutely.
start to slur and start to hear,
But anyway, so she drove from Amarillo to Fenwick, Delaware, is where my grandmother lived.
yeah.
And can you make any more noise over there, sir?
That's fine. It's good ambience noise for the podcast.
I was
Hell
told
yeah,
to
man.
grab
What is
beer.
this one?
Well, yeah, but most
So
people
I'm
would try
drinking-
to be a little quieter during an
No,
audio.
it's perfect. See, this is what you're
I'm
gonna
giving
find.
him a hard time.
This is
I'm
what you're
giving
going to
him a
find
hard
on our podcast. Some of these episodes are just going to be us
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
shit,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
making noise.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Corey's just being bitchy.
Oh, absolutely. Anyway,
always-
so
No.
she drove cross country Christmas Eve, got stuck in the mud in Virginia on a back road. It was just me
Sounds
and her.
about right in Virginia.
Me and her. A truck full of sailors came by in the middle of the night, and they could have done anything. And what they do? All of them grabbed the car, literally lifted and took it out of the mud, pointed her in the right direction, and she was good to go.
And you ended up in Ocean City, Maryland.
And we lived in Ocean City till my mom remarried in '90 and moved up here to Glen Burnie, and I've lived in Glen Burnie or Millersville ever since.
It's funny, you grew up in Ocean City, but don't like seafood.
I don't. Oh, I've.
That is
Oh,
hilarious.
fucking psycho. How do you not?
Weird.
Well,
That's
so
fine,
well, no
hey.
people. Well, I can't say anything because people get mad at me because I won't eat crab. I don't want to put into work, dude.
That's how
Okay,
my mom
you
is.
get
My
a
mom
crab
will
like
eat.
this size, right? You get a crab this size. I gotta make a mallet, do that. I'm lazy, motherfucker.
Hold on, you don't
now,
have
now,
to,
if you
you don't have
somebody
to
will
make
pick
a
it.
mallet. They give you
Oh,
mallets.
yeah, you're right. I'm
He's
sorry.
thinking he has to go to the
Nah,
lathe
now,
and lathe
now,
out
if
a
you
mallet.
pick them for me, I'll eat the crab meat. Like I'll make a crab cake. I love crab cakes. But why do I want to put all that work into eating? Look at me.
fun.
Do I really look like I need to put in work to eat?
You look like you need to go make a few mallets on the lathe or something.
I look like I need to make something. Even I'm
can't
fat.
see you. This is not
I'm
a
fat,
video
guys.
podcast.
Look, I'm big enough. I don't know if you don't know me. I'm large enough to have my own gravity. So just to give you a little bit of
I'm
idea.
still not attracted to you.
No, I'm not that big.
Wow.
I don't have my own gravity. But I'm
Going
not
back
even
in the
when
corner
I'm
right
skinny.
now.
Even when I'm skinny, I was not putting in that much work to eat. Like we would have crab feasts, and they're like, "Why aren't you eating?" Because a hamburger is easier to eat. Bitch. Now, if I walked up and my grandma or dad, whoever was doing the crab feast, had crab meat out, I walk up when they ain't looking and take it. Like you little, yeah, nah. Because there ain't no way in hell I'm putting in all that work to eat food, bro.
That's enjoyment to me. I love doing
Well, when I was young, I didn't like seafood. I didn't start liking seafood until I started cooking it. Like I love crab cakes.
So apparently I make really good seafood, even though I don't like it, because I cook it for Jess.
I don't understand how you see. That's the thing. Like I never really made anything good until I actually ate it. So that's pretty cool that you can make good seafood without actually ever eating it. Because like I don't think I ever made something really good
Now,
until I really.
I will
started
say
eating
the
it.
best thing I make is steak, and that's probably because it's my favorite food.
Fuck yeah,
But
well,
like
yeah.
I have like, I'm sorry, my steak is my favorite steak, and
Well,
Jess,
my
Jess
steak-
and my mom will be like, "Hey, where do you want to go for your birthday?" And they're like, "We want you to make a steak for us."
My favorite steak is my steaks. I make a
Oh,
good
that.
steak, but I can make a steak in anything. I can make a good steak in a microwave.
Oh, yeah. Well, I
I
don't
can
know
make a good
about that,
steak
but-
in a broiler.
Mike,
I can do it on a stove. I can do it on a grill. I
When
can
you
do it on
smoke when you smoke weed, you can make food in anything.
don't mean it's good.
Edible and good are not the same thing.
I don't know, dude. It's pretty good.
Microwave and steak.
No,
Hold
it's
on,
a
hold
joke.
on.
I've never.
There's good. There's good, and there's great.
Guys, I'm joking.
I know.
If I ever stuck a raw piece of steak in a fucking shoot me.
He was very serious by the way.
My asshole, I was. There is very few things. I will stick a lot of stuff in a microwave, but no, a piece of steak.
That's
Good piece of. But that's going back to what we're talking about. That's growing up.
Yeah.
I grew up on the water, so I fished. My friend Tim had a boat, and we would go out 5 o'clock in the morning. He'd get me up. We'd go out, drop the crab traps in the Magothy River. We'd fish. We'd come back, and his dad would throw them in the pot. We'd sneak a couple of his dad's beers or whatever we would do. Sorry, Mr. Crawl, if you're listening to this. Oh, I'm sure he probably didn't even remember who I am. But yeah, oh man, we would take, we go out fishing. I wasn't great at it, but he taught me how to do it. And then when I got older and I really started enjoying fishing again, I can credit my friend's dad and him to teaching me how to fish. I still know how to bait. I still know how to stick a chicken neck in a fucking trap and drop it in the river.
So the funny thing about that,
growing up, you ever go fishing with your dad?
Yeah.
'Cause I met your dad. He seems like a kind of guy that was outdoorsy kind of guy.
Oh yeah, well my stepfather and my dad, we all would go Saturday, Sunday mornings, go crabbing, drop trout lines.
So let me ask you a question. You said your stepdad and I know you said your parents split up, but they got along.
Yes,
that's awesome.
They did. We went
that's
crabbing
cool.
Before 5:30 in the morning, and we dropped in trout line all the chicken.
Same thing, chicken necks. Yeah.
Yes, it's the way to go.
Oh, so, hold on. I got a question. I got to talk to Jason about something. Jason, where do you get your food knowledge from? There's a reason I'm asking because of a conversation we had. Who's your parent that cooks? Because I know you cook well too. Your dad?
My dad, he was one that cooked.
Is he a Southern guy?
Yes.
All right, the reason I'm asking is there's a funny story I want to tell real quick about me and Jason. So one night, we go to the VFW a lot, as you guys will, you definitely hear if you listen to our old podcast or listen to this one.
Don't go find the old one that sucked.
They were, they had a lot of family, they had a lot of, they had weddings, obviously, and they have family reunions, baby showers. So I think it was either a baby shower or family reunion they were having one night. And the girl that was working at the bar was a friend of ours, and she's like, hey, do you guys, they offered, do you guys want some food? I'm like, yeah. They had fried chicken, collard greens, they had all the good Southern food, right? So we're like, man, I want some green beans. Yeah, you got green beans. Man, they brought these green beans out, and Jason and I looked at each other, we took a bite, we're like, oh, fucker, bacon and fat back in that. And then all of a sudden, Jason and we're already good friends, and we bonded on that shit. This lady came out, she's like, if you guys want any other food, can we please have some more of your green beans? She's like, you can take as many as you want. I swear to God, I haven't eaten so many. I was filling up bowls full of these green beans, dude. They were so
long green beans.
Oh my God! I must have shit green beans for 3 weeks. Dude.
Probably, yeah.
Bacon and fatback. They were the best.
Ever.
If you've never had green beans and fatback, find them. You are going to gain weight looking at them, but they're good. It's good food.
Very tasty.
It's good eating.
Back to your fishing thing. When I was growing up, my dad, Clayton, he loves fishing.
Still does.
Still does.
Yeah.
Well, when I was younger, he would take me with him.
Yeah.
As I got older, I didn't like it as much. A lot of it was because
you get bored.
Well, that was part of it, but also
dude, I have ADD and I love fishing.
Well, the thing is that when I was younger, me and him didn't get along real great. We were like a well-oiled machine. We could work. We worked together tremendously, but we were like two bulls. Like our personalities just conflicted. As I got older, we have gotten together great. And now we get along great. We went to North Carolina. It was the first time I'd been in 15, 20 years. And, we went for his birthday. And Jess loves fishing. And so she's was going to go fishing with him every day. Well, we didn't say anything. I'm like, no, I'm going fishing with you one day. And I still remembered how to bait the line. I remembered everything he taught me. And he's not real emotional, but you kind of see it in his eye that he was proud of me. And I caught more fish than he did that day.
See, I forgot.
And I haven't done it in 25 years.
You guys know Patrick. You met him. His brother, Nick, re-taught me how to fish. Nick was the fisherman of the group. So, when I first started going fishing with him again, I'll be honest, he was the one he was the one putting my hook on and helped me bait my line. But then eventually I got it.
We were using squid.
No, we used worms because we were doing catfish.
We started either that or squid, but
man, we went to Ocean City. We started catching skate. I caught two fucking not hermit crabs, two horseshoe crabs humping with them. But anyway, yeah,
I did not know, and I don't know why I didn't know this. I didn't know fish had teeth.
Okay.
Because
fine. If you don't, he's not a fisherman. He's not a fisherman.
It's been 25 years since I'd fished. You know what I mean? It's
all right, man. Some crackheads don't have teeth, so that's okay.
But I'm like, oh shit, they got teeth.
Yeah, you can get bit by them. I've gotten bit by a fish.
Well, because you don't really see unless it's like what are they called? The ones that you see the teeth.
Like jaws,
piranha, or a gar. Gar, yes.
Gar have them.
Those you see the teeth, but a regular one, you just see the lips. You know what I mean? That sounded way dirtier than I meant it, but
let a catfish get on you one day.
But you know what I mean? You don't see the teeth as much. So when you see those teeth going, it's like, oh shit, they got teeth.
I'm going to
I said that to Jess. Jess was like, "You didn't know that?" I'm like, "Jess, it's been 25 years."
I don't want to talk about that movie Teeth either. Now that we're talking about
See,
Teeth.
I would be
No,
more of a crabber than anything else. I would rather go.
Man,
crabbing
I will
than
tell
fishing.
you, I hate getting pinched by them damn little amount of
I like the
motherfuckers.
pier.
I don't think I've been crabbing in 30 years.
30 years.
Crabbing for us was, man, crabbing was so easy because on the Magazine it's not very deep. Where all the crabs would sit is where the bay, like right by Gibson Island, where the bay and the
We
and
have
the,
we
and
have
the river
probably
meet.
3 crabbing cages in our shed.
So
that
you just
we
throw
have-
a chicken neck in there, you throw
that
them off
we
the
have-
pier, and you
but
come
we've
back.
never used them. Or let's put it this way.
Problem is-
my parents have been married now for 30. July will be 33 years. I have never put those cages in the water.
Don't, because motherfuckers will come and steal that shit now, dude.
Right,
Now, there was a whole thing where people were putting their traps off their own private piers, and these people were going around, they were pulling the crabs out. The problem was, they were poaching them too young. Like, if
Yeah.
you pull a crab trap in, if you got a young crab, you got to put it back. That's against the law. These
Yeah,
people
there's
were-
like those
these
rulers
people were
for it and
grabbing
stuff like
blues.
that.
These people
Yeah.
were grabbing baby blues. Like, they were just pulling up the people's pier, pulling their
Never
crabs.
keep females, but they do. That's always our golden rule. Never keep a female.
Hell no, we need to respawn. Now the water's getting so warm, they're all moving to Maine. Nah, I want them all going to Maine. Goddamn lobsters live up there. We need our crabs down here.
Let's go off the pier. That was the best.
That's what I'm saying. We
That
would
was awesome.
Tim's Pier. You could see
Marley
the
Neck.
line. You tie it off the line. You just drop. Oh yeah, Marley had them.
Marley Neck. That's where we.
Yeah, but they also started to mutate there. You start
Every-
getting crabs with fucking 18 arms and shit, looking like a
Nah,
spider.
they weren't that bad.
I want to go back real quick to when we were kids. All right, so growing up, I know I had video games. I'm sure you did. You're a video game nut.
Shit.
I'm assuming you had some kind of video games when you were a kid, Jason.
Yeah.
What
Nintendo.
was you? You were a Nintendo kid. What were your video games growing up? I know I had the NES, of course, and then I had Sega.
I never got a Sega. I played my friend's Sega.
I
never had a
love
Sega.
Sega.
I played both of them.
I played both of them, but I didn't own both of
Now,
them.
my friend Noah, he was a Nintendo kid. Like, he had Nintendo, then he had Super Nintendo, then he had, what was the one after that?
Then 64?
He had 64.
I had N64 and PlayStation 2 at the same time, but
I got out of video games, and then I got back in around PlayStation 2, GameCube. I had a PlayStation 3, and then I haven't gotten back into it since then.
I was on and off video games. When I was really young, I played a lot of video games. I'd say because the problem was I didn't get new systems because my grandma would buy them for me, but I was also into other stuff. I got into music.
I was
a lot.
an action figure kid. That's, I think, the main.
I played with a lot of action. Oh, I was a big action figure kid, but
You'll hear that
as
in
I-
another episode.
as I got a little older, like, 15, 16, I was going to shows. I was going to concerts. I was getting into music. And
I didn't do
girls
that until my
and the
20s.
mall and all
Really?
that stuff. Like,
I was bigger into Connects growing up. Lincoln Logs.
Oh, okay.
I actually like doing
Fuck
that.
yeah, dude.
Legos.
Legos.
Fuck
Oh,
yes.
All that. Even
oh
Jess-
older
my
age.
lord!
Jess
Don't even
just
get me
got
started
me-
on the muff. Don't even get me started
Jess
on the
just
motherfucking
got me
Legos.
I love building that.
3
stuff.
Lego sets for my birthday.
They're
They're
so
actually they're the
expensive,
off-brand. They're
man.
the Mega Connects because they're made the same way. They're
No,
Masters of the
Connects.
Universe ones,
Connects.
but
I know what they are, but they ain't. There's
Nah,
only
young
one
kids
Lego.
don't
Baby.
I know what you
There's
mean,
only one
but-
Lego, and they're up there on my shelf on my
I know
little
you're talking
Lego
about.
minifigures. Fuck all that.
and
all
along with that
crazy.
NES, I see it up there.
I don't even want to get in. I don't even want to get into the
And I
Lego
love puzzles.
puzzles.
I think that helped me. Obviously, like you, I got ADD and all that. I think it helped me concentrate, helped me focus.
My grand, see,
I love
I won't talk much bad. I won't. There's not a lot of good things to say about my grandma. I'm not going to get into this conversation. But when it snowed, where we lived in Pasadena, obviously school was closed. We couldn't get out.
Yeah.
We had a card table. I had this card table forever. I mean, oh my lord, it was in my old house when you guys probably saw it at one point before it fell apart. We would put a puzzle together on that card
Yeah.
table. Edge pieces first, baby. Always the edge pieces first. Then we do the edge pieces. Build the, yeah, Granny and I love puzzles.
Every Christmas,
Lego logs,
we-
Legos.
Borders. Yeah.
Whenever we
But I
have
would go in the woods and build a fort too. I love building.
Oh,
I was very
we would-
handy when I was
we
a
would
kid, dude.
tear
I was
da-
very handy. I became lazy when I got older.
one,
I'd hire somebody.
My dad, he still does. We still get him puzzles for Christmas and birthday
Fuck
every
yeah.
year. He
I love
has
puzzle
we have
collecting.
whole rooms of puzzles.
Fuck yeah, puzzles rule, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Just forever. But I got escorted home by the police one day when I was in 9th grade for tearing down a community fence to build a fort. It was already falling down. In my defense,
yeah, dude.
it was already falling
I
down.
would use a fence to fucking build a
The
fort.
funny thing about that is that it literally was falling apart.
I could see your mom being like, "You really or this is what you got?"
No, her answer was, "It was already fucking falling
Yeah,
apart."
that's what I'm
What's
saying.
the
Like, I
fucking
can see your
problem?
mom not like being mad about that.
A week later, they rebuilt the fence.
That's awesome.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I can definitely see your mom not getting mad about that. My grandmother would flip her shit.
She's like, "Wait."
If the police came home
That's
with me,
what
she
you're-
would flip
that's
out.
what
but
you're-
I could see your mom not giving a fuck, dude.
My mom was very much the guy. I remember when.
Now, I could see your mom giving a fuck about
Oh,
something.
there's something.
But I can see your mom
But-
not giving a fuck about that.
I got she got called
Dumb.
by school because I had a Marlboro t-shirt on one time. Mom was a smoker. She would get them for free from Marlboro with so many points or whatever. She came to school. We're like, yeah, you need to either bring him another shirt or he's gonna have to go home. She's like, he's not gonna have to either. What do you mean? You don't pay for his clothes. I do. I'm his parent. You are not. He will wear the shirts I give him. If you don't like that, you can kiss my fucking ass. He's not gonna turn his shirt inside out or whatever. If someone looks at his shirt and wants a cigarette, that's their problem. There's nothing on his shirt that is making
It doesn't
anyone
say.
smoke.
It doesn't say. Go buy
And
cigarettes.
there's no cigarette on it. It literally was Marlboro and it had a design or whatever.
Right.
Like, unless you knew what Marlboro was, you didn't know what it was.
Yeah, anything really. I don't know.
It could have been Upper Marlboro. Like,
Yeah, there was a high school I used to go to, Upper Marlboro High School.
but that's the thing, is that, like, no, Mom, yeah. She, that's another thing, is that a lot of parents nowadays don't realize how much power they have when it comes to the school. My mom knew, no, I'm in charge of my child, not you.
No,
It's not
man,
your
I got in trouble for everything.
It's not your it's not the parents or the teacher's responsibility to police my child. It's my responsibility to police my child.
Tell me why.
It's your responsibility to teach my child. There's a difference.
And keep us safe. Tell me why I got in trouble for a kid jumping me and stomping me out. My grandma got
Oh, I got
mad at
that.
me.
Oh, I had that too. I
got in trouble for getting beat up in school. It wasn't my fault the kid jumped me.
I got in a lot of
Really?
fights in school.
I did too.
And so
half the time and coming up, I got beat up.
Well,
Until I started whooping their ass later, but
yeah.
that's a different
Well,
story.
finally, I was
Yeah,
like, you know what? And this
Must've
getting
been nice.
suspended for a week thing every time sucks. I'm just not going to fight back. So I didn't get my ass beat. This guy was not real quick. So I just moved out of the way. Well, because it was a disturbance, we both got still suspended for a week. My mom literally looked at me in the principal's office and was like, next time, you beat his ass to the fucking ground. You can't tell him to do that. If you're going to suspend my child for a week and he didn't do anything,
He's gonna
next
get
time,
suspended for the
make
right
it
thing.
fucking worth it and beat his ass to the motherfucking ground.
That's crazy though. If you didn't
Yeah.
do anything, you should.
I literally, so homeboy was trying to go in my backpack, and I kept trying to get him stopped. Finally, he grabbed me, went to go throw a punch. I moved, and the momentum put us to the desk. He went to go hit me again, and I moved. Momentum knocked us and the desk over. And then he went to go hit me again. He never hit me once.
What, you a ninja?
Apparently I was. No, homeboy was just slow. I mean, his name was Joe. I forget his last name, but he was not a small child.
Hey, what's wrong with being a big bone?
He's fat shaming.
I'm not fat
That's what
shaming.
sounded like
I'm
fat
just saying.
I wasn't fat back then.
I'm just saying.
Nah, he's fat shaming.
Bigger children usually don't move as quickly. That's all I'm trying to say.
Fat shaming.
Man, I would whoop his ass. I'm fat. I beat him up.
Anyway, so yeah, but after that, I think that was one of the last fights I was in.
Shit.
In school. Now I got in a lot of fights outside of school, but that was the last one I was
I had my ass
in
whipped
school.
at school. I'm not gonna lie.
I only got my ass kicked a couple times, and then I figured out how to do it.
I was such an outcast in school. Even the outcasts didn't like me. So we appreciate y'all joining us. We're gonna bridge this at this point. We're just want to just get something out there. You know, we've all been friends for quite a while now, but kind of figuring out where we all came from. You know, these stories are fun, and hopefully, you know, you got a little bit of enjoyment out of it. Maybe some of you know us and we're there for some of our stories. We'll definitely have more.
Oh yeah, this will give you a little bit of a background on some of us too. I know we had the introductory episode, but this will.
And our
Kinda
next
extend
episode,
that a little bit.
is going to give you a little bit more insight into the idea of the podcast. So, thank you for joining us. If you any Any closing thoughts?
No, not at all.
Nah, dude, appreciate it. Good.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on the Fanatical podcast. Until next time.
We hope you keep listening.
Yeah,
See you
keep
guys.
listening and keep drinking.
Woohoo!